Right, episode 25, the Norton Project. I put an order in, 3 days ago on Friday? This is Monday. I've got the first few things are coming in already. These are a set of mufflers that I got from a company that I deal with quite regularly. I might as well mention their name, cb750.com. If you're dealing with Honda stuff, or even just like if you're looking for aftermarket, exhaust for just about anything, they're a great company to deal with, especially if you're in Canada. They have a Canadian shipper as well, so if you're dealing with couriers and that, you don't have to worry about border brokerage fees because that's looked after. Their prices are in American dollars, so. Anyway, there's 3 companies that ship through that outfit. Let me think now. There's XS650.com, there's CB750.com, and there's one more called Parts and More, PARTSNMORE.com. They all ship through that same outfit there in Ontario. So if you're in Canada, and you're looking for parts, they're great to deal with. Shipping time's usually about 2 days, so yeah. Anyway, these are a universal type muffler. They look like a foreshortened version of the old Dunstall Megaton ones. So they're kind of period correct, like I say, although they're a little shorter than they would be, but these have the same baffling as the mufflers that I have on that Yamaha. And these do a terrific job of quieting that bike down. I actually had a set of those exact mufflers on that Norton Atlas that I did a couple of years ago. And those mufflers work wonderfully on that bike. They really quiet it down nice. So hopefully these will quiet it down. I don't think it'll be quieting it down too much. And on the other hand, if they're a little bit on the obnoxiously loud side, I have ways that I can tone it down a bit too, but I think those mufflers, they look good on this bike. They're not too long for it. Like I found the old pea shooters looked a bit too long when I bought the bike, right, because they just didn't look right on there. So anyway, they're only just hanging there. As you can see, I stuck a piece of wood under there just to see what they look like, but I got a pair of those in. I'm all excited, so they'll be going on there unless something else happens and I decide to go a different way with it. Of course, I'll have to make some special brackets to connect up to the brackets that are on there, but I have faith that this will come out quite good, so I'm very pleased with that so far. Hey, it's the very next day, a Tuesday. I got part of my order in from British Cycle. This is the stuff that came from the Annapolis Valley in Nova Scotia. I've got the springs for the side stand, the center stand. I've got cables for my carburetors. I've got a nice looking speedometer cable there. What you're looking at here cost about $150 plus $30 in tax and shipping. So anyway, they treat me pretty good up there, so I can't really complain. And other than that, to keep me busy, I've been polishing and cleaning up the footrests and the brake pedal. I've also got the shifter and the kickstarter all cleaned up and ready to go. I am going to replace the pegs that were in this bike. I don't know if you can see it or not, but they're threaded on the inside, and I don't think that's the way they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be like a stud that's part of these, and that will make the footrest a little stronger. I may even make this beefier here, so instead of that 3/8 hole here, that would be the 3/8 bolt on the end of that, or the stud on the end of that, I may bring that out to 7/16. Yeah, anyway, I've got some good tough steel here that I think I'll use for that. So anyway, this will keep me busy for now. I can get those springs on the side stands, and I'm waiting for my other order from BSC to come in, or BCS, I mean, coming in from Loring, Maine. So that should be here, I would think, before the end of the week. Yeah, tomorrow's Wednesday. I might get it before Friday. Who knows? But anyway, it won't take too long because it's not coming by USPS, it's coming by FedEx, so they're usually fairly quick. Okay, that's another Mr. Big Nose project completed. Made up the new foot peg mounts that go on those other mounts. Anyway, like I said, I tapped these out 7/16 instead of just having a 3/8 hole through them, because hey, we all know that 7/16 is bigger than that, so 7/16 ought to give me a little more strength here in this area where these things tend to bend when you get in an accident, plus where they're tapped in. And you can see I've got the red Loctite in there to keep them from coming undone. But you know, if I ever do get in an accident, there's no bolt head or a nut on this side to bash into the primary drive. So hopefully that never happens, and it's never an object of concern or anything like that. But it'll give me, you know, an extra probably 3/8 of an inch that could move in if it had to without hitting the actual primary. So anyway, like I said, I hope that never ever happens, but who knows, it might. And this one here, it's stuck through just far enough that I could peen that end just a little bit to keep that from unscrewing, even though that's full of red Loctite as well. So anyway, plus I put some knurling on here to help the glue hold those foot rubbers on a little better. So those are ready to go on. Well, the mailman came, and so did the tax man, of course. Anyway, I have an oil filter kit that came from Andover Norton. Anyway, it looks like a pretty good kit. It's got the hoses, it's got the steel covers to protect the hoses, it's got a filter, it's got the band to hold it, everything you need to bolt the filter onto the back of a Norton Commando. Anyway, that will probably be my little job today. Right, the rest of this morning I did a little bit of work out here. Got the oil filter installed, complete with its sort of insurance band. It's just a big hose clamp that kind of holds onto that band to make sure the oil filter isn't going to spin off all by itself. But I really don't think that could happen. But hey, you know what? It's there. Might as well use it. Anyway, it involved drilling a couple of holes through the engine plates in order that I could get the what do you call it? The filter housing. Yeah, the filter housing in place. And well, it was easy to get at. I connected the hoses. You can still get at the hose clamps from inside there. So if they ever do leak, I shouldn't have any trouble just tightening them up a bit. Like I showed you before, these hoses came with a nice steel flexible coating, I guess you'd call it, that goes over here to keep them from chafing against the engine mounts here and that sort of thing. So that should go pretty good. Of course, this will go on the outlet from the engine, not the suction pipe. It'll go on the outlet. So it comes from the outlet, goes through the filter, back up through this hose. This hose will connect to the oil tank and the return line. So anyway, yeah, I got the transmission sitting in there. It's just loose right now, but didn't have too much problem getting that in. I did have to jack the engine up again in order to get the back of the engine forward enough so I could clear the holes in that mounting plate. That made me say a couple of little swear words, because I did have it all bolted in. Didn't think I was going to have to take it out, but hey, I was wrong about that. So anyway, that's it for this morning. I think I'm going to have coffee with the guys, so we'll proceed with this little bunch of work after I'm done having coffee. Hey, it's April Fool's Day, just after Easter, and I had a rather dirty trick played on me this morning by a rather dirty individual who just doesn't like me. Anyway, we've all got some of them guys in our lives. Anyway, I had to go down there and clean up a bunch of busted glass and dog poop out of my driveway. But I mean, he's getting a little too crazy here. I might have to contact the police. Anyway, I was hoping he'd just stop doing it, but I know he's not going to. Anyway, let's leave that behind. I've got the new springs on the stands, a little bit of grease where the springs go through the mounts, because they do wear on the mounts if you over the years, especially if they're not greased. So anyways, I got these all oiled up, all tightened up, and got these tightened up as well. Got the good old thread locker on all that stuff too. This is the earlier type of side stand mount. If you have one of these, you should never start a bike on the side stand anyway, especially if you're sitting on it. But if you have one of these bikes, don't start it on the side stand. I mean, this part is fairly strong, but when you get up to here, this plate is part of the frame. It's welded on the back side, so this part bolts into that part. And there's only two, one there and one down here. Only two little 5/16 bolts that hold that to the frame. So think about it, you know, if you've got that over on the side stand and you're sitting on the damn bike and trying to start it, you're going to break something. So don't do that. Anyway, if you have to start the bike on a stand, use the center stand, but don't sit on the bike. It doesn't need the extra weight of you. Go over to the right hand side of the bike and start it from the ground. Don't get on the bike. Put your weight on the bike as well as trying to kick it at the same time. That's an awful strain on all this stuff in here that holds the center stand on. Anyway, like I said, new spring on that. New spring on the center stand. Got all these bolts in here all tightened up that hold all that stuff in. And like I said, it's all thread lock on there. What else have I done? I tightened up the parts on the muffler mounts that I can tighten up. These aren't tightened up because these little rubber doohickeys are going to get replaced. So I left them loose so I can get them off. And as you can see, I've got the oil tank up in there. The filter is all hooked up to it now. This morning I put the carbs on the bike. There's a little oddity about these things. You cannot get, you see how close those nuts are together that hold the carbs onto the manifolds? You can't get anything at them to tighten them up. So you have to put the manifolds on the carburetors when they're off the bike, and then you mount the manifolds to the engine itself. Of course, everybody who has one of these bikes eventually has to make at least one or two of these little shortened off Allen wrenches so that you can get in there to tighten those up. And there's only so much room, so as that bolt comes out of there, you have less and less room to move the Allen key, so you need a short Allen key to get in there, right? So anyway, those are in, they're all tightened up. I've got a hose on there with a little bit of plastic braid on it just to prevent it from wearing against anything. Like I said, these carbs are not new. They look pretty good inside. I have done a previous video on those when I was cleaning them up, but yeah, anyway, we'll see what happens when I get the bike out on the road. If they're good carbs, then I don't need to change them, that's fine. But if I need to change them and put new carbs on, then that's exactly what I'll do. I'll tell you, there's nothing makes a bike run better than that. Let me see now. Yeah, like I said, I got the hoses on here. All the clamps are on. I came out here this morning and there was see that clean spot on the lift? Well, there was a nice little puddle of oil down there. It was dripping down here from this fitting that feeds the cylinder head, and I'm waiting right now for the flexible lines to go up to feed the cylinder head here. Of course, this banjo bolt was open, And the oil from the oil tank, well, of course, it goes down the oil pump, and a little bit oozes through. That's why these things wet sometimes. So, anyways, I just made up a little sleeve to go in between the washers there so I could tighten that up and it won't leak while I'm waiting. I never put very much oil in these tanks until I'm ready to start the bike because of the fact that they do wet some. All I did with this the other day was just fill it up to the point. See if I can get this off of here. You probably can't see in there anyway, but I just filled it up anyway so that the screen strainer in there was just barely covered. So anyway, the one good thing about this is I know that that oil pump is fully primed now, so when I start this bike up, the engine will have full oil pressure going to it. Oh, was there anything else I wanted to talk about in this little video? Oh yeah, we got a nice new air cleaner. Interesting story about them. When I was talking to the guys at British Cycle Supply, they said K&N used to make these up for them, right? And K&N is a very expensive air filter. Anyway, apparently they didn't want to make those filters anymore because BCS wasn't selling enough of them, I suppose. But anyway, the guys at BCS told me they went down the road to the competition and said, "Can you guys make these filters?" They said yes. So they look exactly like the K&N ones, except they're not K&N, but quality looks good. And I don't usually fit these filters in these bikes because I try to go with a little bit back toward the what's the word I'm looking for? Toward the standard fitting that you would find on there, that great big thing that they call the ham can air cleaner on there. But in this case, it makes it so much easier to work on the machine with this type of air filter on here. And what was I thinking? I was thinking, oh, by the way, just in case you're wondering, that little pipe coming off the return line that went to the chain oiler, that's all soldered shut, so that's not going to cause me any problems. But the horn that came with this bike, it's a really good loud horn, and it still works good. Of course, it's all full of fingerprints right now, but it polishes up real nice. So I think I'm going to try to mount that in here somewhere or other, because normally the horn would be up underneath the seat. And the one on my other bike, when I'm driving that bike and I got a full face helmet on, I can't even hear the horn when it blows. So anyway, like I say, I think I'm going to put that somewhere around about there. That'll fill in that that area a little bit. Maybe I'll even put it in there and that way, or like that or something. That'll just fill in that area under the carburetors, and give you something to look at besides empty space. So anyway, that's it for this little video. I think I will probably start putting the primary together on this because I'm at about that point where I can do that. Of course, I still got a lot of cables to put on, that sort of thing, but I'll have a new headlight bucket coming and all that stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. I will keep you posted with further progress, and toodly-doo.